What would make you walk away from a stable corporate career with two kids under two and no guarantee of what comes next? Sounds scary, but today's guest, Michelle Glogovac, did exactly that. She traded the predictable for the possibility and built a thriving business. She is the podcast matchmaker, a podcast publicist, author of How to Get on Podcasts, and hosts the award-winning podcast My Simplified Life. She helps entrepreneurs, authors, and experts hone their storytelling abilities, grow their businesses, and elevate themselves as thought leaders. Michelle is a wife, mom of two, stepmom of two, and a fur mom. She has her BA and MS in law and is the founder and CEO of the MLG Collective. And on a personal note, I actually met Michelle at a book and writers festival because I heard her speaking on the panel, and her story resonated with me deeply as a working mom that has multi passions. So I'm excited for you to hear from her today, as well as my whole Wellness Mama Summit that is coming up in September that she'll be joining me in as well. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you so much for having me, Amy. I'm so excited to be here and get to see you again.
Yes, we will dive into way more details, but can you share your quick story for those that are meeting you for the first time?
Yes. So I am Michelle Glogovac. I was for 18 years selling jet fuel to corporate flight departments, which sounds much sexier than it actually is. I worked with celebrities and corporate flight departments, people who have money and can afford it, and I saved them money on their fuel. I had needed a part-time job when I was in college and could walk to the airport. And then when I graduated, I got benefits and a salary and didn't have to move home. So I stayed with it for far too long. I found it funny that you referred to the corporate job as stable because I really feel it is anything but. I've had 2 layoffs. My husband's also been laid off. So, I think that we look at corporate jobs as stable, predictable, and yet they oftentimes aren't. And so it was in that second layoff that I now had 2 kids under 2. And I said, what else can I do? Because I'm done. This is not my quote unquote passion. I'm not one of those woo woo people, but I was like, this isn't making me want to get out of bed anymore. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I tried some event planning because I'd done that in my corporate career. I did some social media and I'm like, this just isn't it. And a woman from my birthing class for my first child said, there is this life and business coach who's launching a podcast. Maybe it'll help you. And I said, how do I listen to a podcast? I had no idea that the purple button on my iPhone let me listen to podcasts. And that was it. That changed everything. I started listening to her and she reached out to me actually and said, do you want to pitch me to be on other shows? Because you keep promoting my show and you like it and you understand it. So do you want to do that? I had no idea that was even a thing. I started pitching her, but I wanted to, in true Michelle fashion, learn everything that there is to learn about podcasts. And so I ended up producing shows, launched my own show, but I fell in love with the pitching part, to be able to tell people stories, to help listeners, and then really help guests not just share their story, but then repurpose it to help build their brand and thank their hosts.
I love so much of your story because thank you for talking about the not stable part. We'll address that first because I came from 18 years at one company and Apple treated me very well in the sense of like it was very stable, at least for me. But you're right, especially in this day and age too, and tech and all kinds of things. It is not. So thank you for that reminder. And there are a lot of things that come with that too, right? It might be like a salary, it might be benefits, it might be all these things, but you're also paying for it in different ways. So, yes. And I don't know that I've ever said, this is my reason for getting up to go to that corporate job, right? Which is probably why I started doing these different things during COVID, which was absolutely an eye-opening time for a lot of people. And, deciding, okay, is this what I want to do? What else do I want to do, at least in my fun time, or exploring what makes me happy? So I love all of that. Yeah. And you just never know, to your point. I don't think when I started a YouTube channel just for fun that I wanted to do all these different things. And now I get to talk to amazing people like you and authors and, other mompreneurs and so many people that actually make a difference in people's lives. So you never know when you say yes to something and just try something new. I love the
Yes.
opportunities that abound.
Yeah, it's so refreshing to be able to go, you know what, this morning, I think I want to write a bit and to be able to just do it, that nobody's looking over your shoulder and saying, oh, no, you should be on task, do this. I mean, I get to check myself for that, but it is nice to have that freedom, that flexibility, and to go wherever your mind wants to go.
Yeah. So when you're starting off on something, I know, one thing led to another, but clearly it is not the safe and easy path to become an entrepreneur and start different things, right? So can you take us back to that moment, the likely series of events where you went, okay, really, I am doing this. I don't know if there was conversations with partners, family, whomever for that support, especially with two young children, right? To say, okay,
Yeah.
I'm doing this really new thing that I don't know how it's going to go.
It was a big conversation with my husband. He was fully supportive. We've both worked from home for over a decade. Even in my corporate job, I was working from home. So that wasn't out of the ordinary. And it was, let's talk finances. What do you think you could bring in with whatever business you're going to launch? And at first it was, well, do you think you could cover the mortgage payment? And I am someone who's very goal oriented. I'm like, yeah, I got that. I can totally make enough to cover the mortgage. And I'm taking that as game on. I'm going to do more than that. That's my goal. I'm going to exceed it. And that was really how it just kind of started of, okay, I can do this. Of course, I worked way too much. When you're launching, you don't know how to price yourself. And so many years ago, podcast pitching was pretty new. It was existing, but not the way that it exists today. So it was, how do I price myself? I was charging, and it's so cringy, $100 a month for what I do now that costs $2,500 a month. Granted, I am very good at what I do now, but the discrepancy in how much I worked, the effort that I was putting in, I didn't value myself enough, not knowing that, you can actually charge more for what you're doing. So there was a big difference of, I needed to have at least, 10, 15 clients on board in order to make that mortgage work and to make it all work. But that meant that I was working around the clock until 10, 11 at night, getting up at 5 in the morning. And I still get up early in the morning, but not because I have to meet all of these deadlines, because I actually want to. So just a lot of pivoting, a lot of looking at competitors. What are they doing? How can I expand my offering to make it even more worthwhile for clients? How do I keep increasing my rates slowly, here and there without it scaring people? And still did, I had somebody last week go, oh, your prices. But I also had someone last week go, wow, you're really reasonable. So it all depends on who you're talking to.
It's all relative. And I totally get it because I also, as I work with like sponsors and things, you're going, oh, but I'm new. So how much do I charge for these paid partnership kind of things, so that self-doubt is definitely huge.
Yes.
And you've
Yes.
got a low ball and yeah.
And it doesn't go away. So there's still some there. I just had a conversation today with a girlfriend who was like, you need to start charging for these pick your brain sessions. Stop giving them away. Yeah. So it doesn't go away.
And it's a balance too, right? Because you want the experience to be really good. But yeah, there's always something.
Yes.
So were there moments where you went, oh my gosh, this is impossible? I know you had your goals. I know you were like, I'm going to get this. Was there a point where or a series of points where you went, oh my gosh, this is impossible. What did I do? And how did you push through those?
It happens all the time. It still happens where I go, am I really doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this right? And then I've learned to wait. And this is funny because I'm contradicting the whole I'm not woo woo that I said 2 minutes ago. But I look for those kind of signs of, if a client, back when I was starting out and you'd have a client that wasn't a good fit or is like, I just want to end my contract. And I'm like, oh, it's so bad. And I've now look at it and I go, that's fine. because tomorrow I'm going to have someone else who's going to be the right fit. And changing that mindset, it actually works. And you can bless and release, as they say, that one client because the next door does open. And I look for those, oh, should I do this? Should I take this chance? Is this really what's meant for me? Because there will be months where you're looking at contracts going, oh man, this one's wrapping up, that one's wrapping up. What's the following month going to look like? And then all of a sudden you have a plethora of calls of, I want to work with you. Let's sign the contract today. So it's really just getting comfortable with knowing that you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but to trust that you're on that right path, that whatever's meant to be will be. And as long as you enjoy getting up and doing what you're doing, then that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Oh, I love that. I love that because we could detour all day long and try to cater to everyone, but not everyone is meant to be our people.
Yes. Listen to Taylor Swift. She laid it down yesterday with not everyone can afford your energy. It's a luxury. So don't go giving it away. I printed that.
Go Taylor, man. So you also said you involve your kids in what you do. So can you tell me what that looks like in practice for you? Because I actually involve my kids too, and I love it. So I'd love to hear what you do.
They have, since we work from home, when I worked in corporate, we had a part-time nanny, but so they were always at home with us. And then when I stopped corporate, we stopped having a part-time nanny. So they've always been around. They knew what a podcast was before they were 3 years old. And they knew that if the door was closed, we're quiet. There were some occasions in those early episodes where they would come in, but I have video recordings of my son saying, "Hi, this is my simplified life and my mommy's the host,"
So sweet.
at this young age. So they know what I do. They now have iPads and can Google it and they will actually listen to the show. So I have to be a little cautious. But they know what I'm doing. They know what I'm interested in. I'm very open and honest, whether it's business wise, whether it's politics, whatever is going on, we talk about it. I will take them on trips with me. My daughter has come to book signings with me. She's come to bookshop openings with me. They've actually, on the political side, because I've launched a second show, they've come canvassing with me. They know what's going on. And so that is how I involve them. They know the books on my shelves or authors I've worked with or interviewed. And so they actually recognize it. It's so cute. We've gone into Barnes and Noble and my daughter goes, "Oh, you had that author on your show. Are you going to take a picture and tell them you saw their book too?" So that's how I involve them, that they know what's going on. They understand this is what I do, that I love what I do, why I do it, who I'm working with and what their messaging is. So that's how I involve them. I also I'll go to school and talk about podcasts. I did that last year for the fifth graders. They have to listen to a podcast once a week instead of reading. And so I went in to teach them this is what goes into creating a podcast. So you have an understanding of how much work is being done for you to listen to those 5-minute episodes of news for kids. So I just think that involving them, letting them know what exactly it is that you're doing, why it's important, it helps them also see that the world is their oyster. They can do whatever they want. I like to remind them that podcasts did not exist when I was in college. So I had no idea that this was going to be an option. So even if they think they know what they want to be, it could change tomorrow because people are inventing new things. So who knows what you will be when you grow up?
So that is a funny story because we just had our first day of school picture things. I don't know if you do the blackboards or whatnot with
Hmm.
the kids, but the question is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my younger one said either a children's book illustrator or a YouTuber, and I went, "Oh, is that a thing now?" And it totally is.
Yeah.
Um, I said, "I don't know what your niche is going to be or what your angle you're planning to do," but it was just an interesting like mirror to myself of they've been in my videos, they've seen me do these things, they've seen me, talk about different things and different authors and get really excited about children's books and all of that. So they are sponges and
They
definitely
are.
soaking
They're
it in.
watching.
Yeah, which is also scary.
Yes.
So how do you think growing up around your business has shaped their view, and you said you want them to know what is possible, that there's all these different things and things could change obviously as they grow up. But what do you think growing up around your entrepreneurship and your work ethic has given to them?
They both know that they can start a business if they want to. They're very entrepreneurial in that sense as well. They're not afraid to use technology, and that's, I think more normal these days for our children. But my son's making videos, stop action things, stop motion, what I don't even know what it's
He just
called.
started doing that too.
But
Yeah.
he's doing that in the driveway with, his little army men and stuff. And my daughter's like, I'm going to start a band and we've got posters and we can do this. And it also helps them see other people that are in the world that they, wouldn't, all of us, myself included, we wouldn't otherwise meet if it weren't for this technology and these mediums and platforms. It opens their eyes to new books, because I also get children's books or young adult books, and I let them read it with me. We will read these books together. And the best is my son. Their favorite author is Alan Gratz. And they're like, can you have him on your show? I go, yeah, probably not. He's not responding to the DMs. But I like that you believe I am that big that I can just have anybody on my show. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I had very similar conversations, and I think my kid read about stop motion, like a character was making stop motion videos, and so he came to me and said, "Can I try making this?" And so he did, and he was like spending all of Saturday doing stop motion videos, and it was great. He figured it out himself. I'm like, kids and technology,
Yeah.
reading just opens up all these different avenues. I love it. We have like family book club, and I reached out to Kelly Yang to be like, "Oh my gosh, I love your books. We love your books. Can we talk?"
I
So
love
we'll
that.
see. TBD.
Yes, do it.
Yeah, yeah. So we've talked about how entrepreneurship can really bleed into your time, right? It could be really easy to, even working from home, right? It can get really murky of how do you make boundaries for your time. So, can we talk about how you protect your family time and how you set boundaries for yourself?
I block my calendar. It's funny because I think when you're in corporate, you don't block your calendar. Like, you can't take certain days. But years ago, I blocked Mondays and Fridays. I do not take interviews, calls. I don't do anything those 2 days. Those are really protected for, whatever I want to get done. And then I'm always at drop off. I'm always at pickup. I volunteer in the classroom. So I block all of those times myself, because I own my calendar, and I think we forget that we own our time. So that would be first and foremost. And they know that when they come home from school, they sit down, they do their homework. We have that routine, and my office is the dining room, so I can see right into the kitchen. I see what you're doing. I'll be doing emails, but that's the time when I'm starting to slow down and wrap up whatever I'm working on. And then afternoons and evenings are with them, with the exception of reading books, whether it's for clients or for the show. They know that I'm also going to be reading. I read all the time. So when they're watching TV and I don't want to watch whatever they're watching, I'm reading a book. So I get to still work per se, which is the best perk of my job, but I'm still present with them. And I protect that time in that way. I'm not sitting at my desk. I'm done with the desk by the latest 3 o'clock, which is nice.
I resonate with the doing things next to them because sometimes they'll play video games, especially with dad, right? And I'm like, I don't really need to. So I put my headphones on and my audiobook, and I'm like still watching the game.
Yes. Even
I'm
last
still
night, I told my husband, I go, it's really nice outside and I have more reading to do. Would you like a cocktail and to meet me outside?
read side by
Yes.
side.
And I'm working and having a glass of wine. So it was perfect.
I love it. If you could go back and give your corporate Michelle advice based on what you know now, what would it be?
Leave earlier.
Be daring, leave
Yeah,
early.
I would have left earlier. Yeah. I learned a lot, working in corporate for almost 20 years, but I think that there's so much more out there. There's more potential than we actually realize. Of course, I wish that health benefits were easier to obtain as someone who works for themselves. That would be the only, oh, but I need that part. But otherwise, I'd say, yeah, take a chance earlier. Don't wait until you're forced to look at what else can be done.
Oh, Michelle, you're speaking to my heart. I just, I'm one of those people that we made a big move, and so we left Silicon Valley. But now I'm in a different corporate job, and I'm like, oh, what is the right decision? But you know what? We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, it'll all work out.
So for moms that are dreaming about starting something soon, and they're like, ooh, is it the time? But they're feeling overwhelmed or guilty or just uncertain, what is that smallest next step you would suggest people take today to start feeling or to start seeing what might be right for them?
Try something. Try whatever it is that you want to do. I said that I was going to start doing something while they were still at home. And we were part of a mom's group. So we'd go to play dates all the time. And I'd be on my phone, doing whatever I'm supposed to be doing and swinging them. And one mom had said to me, she's like, why are you doing this? Why are you starting this business now? And I said, well, because they're going to go to kindergarten at some point. It's literally the law that they will go to school. So they're not going to be here all the time. And if I start this business small and scale it, then by the time they're in kindergarten and done, I will have established something of my own that I can then work full time in. And so that's why I took these small steps while they were still at home, because now they're in fourth and fifth grade and I have a business that I don't have to start from scratch, whether that's the website domain, go buy it. Go buy the domain. You can buy it for a penny plus, a few bucks for a few years on GoDaddy.
Yeah.
Secure the Instagram handle that you want. Just start doing these small steps. So that way, when you do launch this business, if it's a business or you want to write the book, you can do it. You have already taken baby steps that are in the right direction of what you want to do. If you want to write the book, start writing it. Take notes. I'm working on a novel now and I have notes everywhere. And as the ideas come, I jot them down. And that those are all steps to taking that bigger step. So just do one small thing and then it will snowball. And by the time they go to school, you've already laid the foundation.
Are you seeing into my mind? Because I'm trying to write a children's book. I have all this idea that I really like. And so you're seeing into my mind, my soul.
I love it.
Yeah. And speaking of, I know you already spoke about, having a new podcast. There are a few exciting business updates that you've made and that I've seen. Can you share what is next personally or professionally for you?
So I recently, sunsetted, quote unquote, I changed the name of my simplified life to Read the Damn Book. And it will be all authors because I was doing that. But then I've also launched a second show called Beyond the Campaign, where I interview candidates and politicians about themselves, not just about the issues. We talk a little bit about, hey, what do you think about gerrymandering? Because that's a new word we all forgot about since high school and it's everywhere. But I want to get to know them as people because I feel like even whether it's authors or politicians or anyone else, we need to invest in one another to hear the story of who these people are, whether we're talking about the person who's writing these books that make us sob and cry or escape to a beach or fall in love with somebody, or we're talking about the politician who is representing us. We need to invest time in getting to know them. And I think that hearing their stories is the best way to do it. So,
Mhm.
with both of those shows, I've launched a podcast network called the MLG Collective Podcast Network. It's not very creative, but it's all trademarked. So, it keeps it easy. And I want to build more shows that all tell the story, that really emphasize women's voices that are doing the work, that are doing this change, that are showing up every day, that are getting loud, that are brave, and helping others do the same. So those are the two big things on the podcast side. And then I have the podcast book tour for authors and the podcast campaign tour for politicians. And then I also work with everybody else too, not just on tours for set times, but on retainer and growing their audiences and their brand and just making sure that we get these stories out there.
Oh, I love that because I've started to do book interviews or author interviews, and it just makes your reading experience so much richer as you hear what their thought process was and seeing just the backstory to these things. And people's stories are like the moving thing, right? That is what
Yes.
we remember from all of these things. So I love that. I love that you are doing that. And um, we'll have all the links so that people can catch it underneath. So people don't have to go scribble furiously. But I'd love to do some quick fire questions if you are up for it before we
Let's do
close
it.
out.
Yeah.
Let's have about four.
Okay.
What are you reading right now? And if you're like me, you might have multiple formats. What are you reading right
Yes, I do. Last night I finished the advanced copy for From Dropout to Doctorate by Dr. Terrence Lester. Really good, inspirational. Talks about education, homelessness, and trauma. I'm also reading Young Fools, I think it is. It's somewhere on my desk, but that's another arc. But it's about this writer who's in her 20s, and she goes on this writer's retreat out kind of in the woods. But she's from Mill Valley, so and I'm not sure where it's going. I tend not to read the description of a book before I just dive in. I trust the people that are sending it to me, so I'm like, I actually don't know where the book is going. Audiobook, I'm listening to Love or Haters by Catherine Center. So I
now?
think those are the three right now.
I love it. Oh, Catherine Center, I like her. Her romance books are so cute. And yeah. What is your go to tool or routine or action, any one of those, when you feel overwhelmed by to dos or if you want to go grander, world events, whenever you feel overwhelmed?
uh, tackle something on my list, something that I can cross off and go, wow, you did good. Uh, just to pat myself on the back. That would be what I do when I'm feeling overwhelmed, or I switch tasks. I found that, like yesterday, I felt I was too much in the weeds when it came to working on topics in a media kit for a specific client. And I'd been working on it for over a day. And I went, you know what, let's pause on this and move over to something else to use a different side of my brain. And that really definitely helps when it comes to our political climate. I don't know, cuss.
Oh, the
Touch
world.
grass, as they say. I go and I touch grass.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I can get so overwhelmed by reading the news and whatnot. So,
Yes.
um, what is your favorite activity to do as a family?
We have a 1945 World War II Jeep. And so we drive it around. I'm like driving Miss Daisy because I love to just have the kids are in the back. My husband drives, and I go, just drive around the neighborhood. I like to see what everyone's done on their houses recently. Let me see what's for sale in the area. So we love doing that. And not just in the area, we'll go out for breakfast burritos. This weekend, we're actually participating in a local Spirit of 45 event where we dress up like the 40s. We drive the Jeep out there. There's a swing dance, a parade. So we love to do that as a family.
Oh, that is so fun. I love it. This last one is quite wide open, but what is a product in your house that you wish more people knew about?
Ooh, toilet bowl cleaner that you can actually use it outside of the toilet bowl.
Oh,
You can use it on the tile of your shower. That would be a big one. I also love any kind of gadget that makes cleaning fun.
yeah. Oh, yes.
So like the as seen on TV wands that are actually electric and they have the spinning brushes.
Yes, I've seen it.
And then they've got different heads, like the flat one or the ones that get in the corners. Yes, those are products that I love that I think everybody should own because it makes cleaning a little bit more fun.
I am all for making the not fun fun. So I love
Yes.
it. I love it. Yeah, I think mine was probably like the heatless hair curler. If I can
Oh,
shave off day or time in the mornings. Of course, today I don't have it used because I went swimming this morning. But
I would also say that the blow dryer that is like the brush, so you don't have to do both hands.
Mhm.
That every day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Since that invention, I blow dry my hair every day.
Oh, see all these fun things and love hearing about other people's. Well, is there anything else you want to leave with our listeners today before we sign off?
Just take the chance. Whatever it is that you're thinking about. I recently read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, and she talks
Mm.
about how if you get an idea, you either better execute on the idea or it's going to leave you and go plant itself in someone else. And I've taken that to heart. So if there's something that sparks your interest that you're like, that would be really cool to do, to read, to see, to be, run with it. Take a small step so that way the idea doesn't leave you and go to someone else and then you regret it.
How many times has that happened, right? So yes, and that book is on my TBR, on my Everlong TBR. So
Read it.
thank you, Michelle.
A tip from another author was read a chapter a night, put it on your bedside table. And it took me like 5 months to get through, but made it much easier.
I'm like a binger, so I don't know if I could just do one a night, but I love that. I love that tip. Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for chatting with me. It has been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me on. It was great to get to chat with you. And next time we'll go back to a beach to do it.
Oh, I love it. Let's do it.